Welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline Live. Thanks for watching our show. I know you're watching on Verizon 32 or Comcast 7 right now. Want to shout out to a few friends that I run into. Hold it, I did mark down, where are they? I'm shopping the other day, and Jack and his wife Max, hello to you. I told you I'd shout out to you. They love us guys. Chip, they love your trivia time. Smoking Jim, they just think you're an expert on everything.
And he is.
And we run into people all the time. We're being seen all over the area as I'm running around getting ads and different things. Oh, our guest last week, Andy Sebastian, had my first Rudy sub. Fantastic. He's advertising in the magazine, so stay tuned for that. And that'll be coming out very shortly right now, so you have to check it out. Got a lot of great advertisers. Got about 18 different advertisers. We're coming out there. But enough of that. It's a great day in sports here, and we got a lot of sports talk here coming up for you. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine, Chip the Prophet Hayner, Smoking Jim Frazier, and Little Z Zach Brenner. That's a sketch. That's not a photograph, by Tempe Moore. Just check her site out, Art for Yins. She does some fantastic things and even signed some deals with doing cards and other photos of athletes in the area. Stay tuned with that. And now we do our first segment, What's on Our Mind? Smoking Jim Frazier, what's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. And if you want the green, you got to see Levine. But I tell you what, my good friend Chipper is going to enlighten everybody that it is high school playoff time in Western Pennsylvania. Still some of the best football in the country. And because of that, happened to bring in my newspaper, the Pittsburgh Courier. And a couple of years ago, if you look, I'm a full page on the WPIL championship where
that's all colored too.
All colored. Clareton won, Aliquippa won, Montour won, and North Allegheny won. But I never flipped it over to the other side. So, and this is in 2011, December of 2011. I flip it over to the other side.
What's on there?
And I see wrestling. I see wrestling there, and I'm looking George the Animal Steel. I says, who wrote this article? And it was Trapper Tom wrote the article. A white writer writing in the Pittsburgh Courier. That has to be a first. He's an excellent writer, old Trapper. There it is. I passed it down. I highlighted his name. So he's a friend of the show. Excellent writer, one of the best guys. I tell you what, I can even learn a little something from my main man, Trapper. Great article. I enjoy it.
And here's what's nice. Look who's next to him on that.
Neil looked like a wrestler.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm not going to take it off you, but I better call him on my speed dial here. Wow.
Very good article, and that's what's on my mind. My main man, Trapper John.
We'll revisit that.
There's only 2 degrees of separation in the world, not 6, like you always say.
In Pittsburgh. In Pittsburgh. Thanks for learning that lesson there. We found that out again last night. I'll give you one far away. Ow.
Thanks, cuz.
Me in the middle.
And for all of Smoking Jim's cousins, keep watching. And like us on Pittsburgh Sportsline on Facebook. I got to get the update. I think we're almost at 1,400, folks, so thank you. Special shout out to Jim Kaiser, Pittsburgh Sports Pride. He keeps working it. We had a lot of great guests, and they all friended us, so we're moving on up there, guys. Thanks, Smoking Jim. Now, Chip the Prophet Hayner, what's on your mind?
Oh, thank you, Alan, and it's a pleasure to be here with you, too. I enjoy your company. This is just a great gig. You know, I'm living the life here. But, before I get into what's on my mind, we do always like to dwell on the lighter side of sports, and we yuck it up a lot. But last year, 1 year ago today, was when Superstorm Sandy, made landfall and then was probably one of the greatest natural disasters to ever hit the East Coast. And the reason I bring this up is my mother-in-law lives on Ocean City, New Jersey, which is a barrier island, and she was one of the stubborn few that refused to leave because she has an animal rescue shelter and she couldn't find places for the animals. And my wife spent a very anxious night the night the storm made landfall. But that's,
She survived. And the animals too.
Fortunately, I went down to do some volunteer work to get her shelter reopened again, and everything's going fine there. But you ask me what's on my mind sports-wise, the NFL. What else could be on my mind? You know, we've got the final game of the World Series could be played tomorrow night, possibly Thursday. Series is going back to Boston. Boston's up 3-2. But, you know, what's on my mind with the NFL, and I go back to last week when I questioned Roger Goodell's interest in trying to make the game safer for players. And, you know, the reason I thought about that, you know, a couple of things came to my mind. First was last week I brought up Brandon Merriweather. And, you know, a week ago Sunday, he had 2 hits to the head, leading with his helmet, hit guys with the helmet. He was suspended for 2 games. And without any explanation or anything, he appealed that. And his suspension was dropped by 1 game, which I don't know, man. I think 2 intentional helmet-to-helmet hits that concussed people, you know, I guess that warrants reconsideration, because I guess we're really not too concerned about player safety. But then the idiot gets in on ESPN yesterday, and he decides to say, well, now that I'm going to be fined for hitting people in the head, what I'm going to do is I'm going to deliberately take out people's knees. Now, you know, I don't get this, and why is he not suspended for the rest of the season? Because here what he is saying is, well, since you're not going to let me knock people silly, I'm going to cripple people on purpose. You know, and is that the kind of player or the kind of representation we want in the NFL today? You know, James Harrison spoke up, he got fined, and fined again, and finally he got suspended. And why they let this guy play football is beyond me. But the second thing that makes me really concerned about the player safety, you know, I do have my Thursday night football game ban and still in effect, is why are we playing football games in London, England? Now this year, we've got 2 games that we played in London. And, you know, with the heightened tensions that there are in the world, and I'm not trying to give anybody great ideas, next year we're going to play 3 games in London. This is an American game that was born on the North American continent, representing teams from North America. And we're uprooting these teams, expecting the fan base to cross an ocean to go watch their team play. They lose a home game. But here's what they're doing. They're painting a great big target on American capitalism, because if you were a terrorist organization and you wanted to make a statement against America, where better to do that, and where could you get a bigger audience? I don't think it's really a smart thing to do to be playing football in England. The kind of football they play in England is played with your feet. That's the way it should be.
Wow. You got a little political aspect of that, Chip? Appreciate it. And I think you're reading some of those mystery books there, too, that talk about some of that. Just so you know, because I recognize some of that. So there are some theories.
I've read a few. Read a few.
And that was just this week. That was just this week, folks. Well, what's on my mind is Steelers. And we all know that. I predicted that 11-5, like I said, and I'm still eating humble pie, crow, everything else. And I just wish they would tell us that they're rebuilding, so then our little hearts don't get broken when we see how they play. And it's just frustrating to watch the games. And then when we're that close, we still get the same problems with coaching, mismanaging the clock and other type of things out there. So that to me is bothersome. I still am a Steeler fan. You know, I hope they can make 8-8 somehow, some way. But I don't know how we're going to win the game in New England this week. You know, when you got guys trying to, like we were talking beforehand, I'm not going to steal Chip's thunder on it, but the guy who's outspoken on there and is a very smart guy and looking for a job in ESPN, he's trying to fire up one of the best quarterbacks in history. I heard the same thing, and that's crazy. And then I wanted to promote my man, the NFL scout here, the Steelers scout, the guy who goes in the war room, and he's not afraid to write on the chalkboard, soft. Smoking Jim Frazier. Not only did he predict guys in D- on their drafting, and he's friends with these guys, and they still want to talk to him, and they say they're friends of him. He said Mike Adams was soft. Now he can't even find the team locker room to get into the game. Then Jarvis Jones, Smoking Jim has a bet that I thought was one of the craziest and basically dumbest bets. that he bet that Jarvis Jones wouldn't get a sack. Well, he must have talked to Mike Tomlin and said, don't play the kid. No, he benched him. This is a guy that's not a Monday morning quarterback. He says a lot of crazy stuff. Don't look on Facebook at some of the groups he's in. It's insane. But even he is more right this year than I've seen him before. And that's my promo for Smoking Jim Frazier.
Thanks, Al.
And now we'll revisit a little bit. Chip, I'm a little stuck on.
Okay, you're all
I couldn't
better now.
move. I was getting the hunchback look over
Okay,
here.
sorry about
Thanks.
that, Alan.
But I wanted to revisit your NFL and what these guys are doing. All the Steeler fans that think Goodell was picking on us, it was true.
Good point.
And that's part of it why it inflames the Steeler base, Steeler Nation, whatever you want to call us. You can't have a double standard over a guy that is saying what a lot of players want to do. They do want to take the knees out of a quarterback or a running back or somebody else, but he's saying it, not getting fined. So it's outrageous.
No, it absolutely is. And, the only two options when you hit somebody are not to either hit them in the head with your helmet or to cripple them and take out their knees. I've watched a couple of the games, and unfortunately this didn't happen in Oakland, but the two games that we won, I saw Troy Polamalu make good, clean hits on receivers, lowered his shoulder into them, hit them in the sternum, head to the side. Good quality hits. They got the point across because football's a hard-hitting game. No flags were thrown. No fines were meted out. So, you can play the game clean and hard. You don't have to cripple people. And somebody that's just going out to potentially, bigger question I have is where's Roger Goodell saying something? Where is the players' union? Okay? I mean, he's talking about deliberately hurting brothers of his own union. Isn't there something wrong with that?
Chip, I got to give you a history of unions. The players' union with the NFL and most sports leagues, it's not for the players. It's for control from the ownership, and it controls the salaries because the top players always get the money, no matter how it works. So you control the other guys that are there, and that's part of what they do. In this talk, Smoking Jim can tell you, players have always been tough guys, and there's some guys that are much tougher than others. He's the one that calls them gladiators, and that's what they do. They don't mind if they go out and try to hurt you, but you got to play within the rules. When there are no rules, this is what you have happening.
But you know what? If you're going to go out and do it, you just go out and do it. You don't sit there and talk about it because it shows a premeditation, and I think that's what maybe I have more of an issue with than anything else.
I have a revisit for you, Chip. And you talk about going and losing a home game in London. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm not going over there to watch a football game. However, there is a market here that's pretty large in this country. How about having some games in Los Angeles?
You may bring up an excellent.
Is that a third world country? Because that used to be one of the biggest cities
Compton!
in the USA.
The two biggest television markets in the United States. I mean, maybe even the world.
And I'm only being
New York
sarcastic.
And Los Angeles, and you make an excellent point. You've got a team in Jacksonville, I guess, but that seems not to be doing anything. Can't sell seats. I mean, on a bad day, you could probably fill a stadium in Los Angeles. And how the Rams left there, the Raiders left, and now what's something.
And don't it look ridiculous right now for the Rams to be playing in St. Louis right now? Everybody in St. Louis is wearing red. For years, St. Louis was the Cardinals in football.
Yes, they were.
And they still should be the Cardinals, but they're out there in Arizona dominating.
Steeler West.
No, that's the NFL let these franchises take up stakes and move around. You had the original Cleveland Browns playing in Baltimore. You've got what do you got? The Houston Oilers became the Tennessee Titans. And it's it's
You
all
guys
about
are a
money.
wealth of information. They've just mixed it all up. You follow the money. What's wrong with you? Just follow the money. There's no money in LA for football. That's what it is.
The New Orleans Jazz playing in Utah. There's no Jazz in Utah. Just ask my cousin Freddie.
There was jazz and blues last night. We had a lot of stuff going on there. We'll revisit that when we get to SIP. Or no, we'll talk about that in our next segment. But I did want to give another shout out to Trapper Tom. With all the stuff he's done, he's put a great blog in the Dormont Brookline patch.
What a
Okay,
writer. What a
he
writer
did,
he is.
definitely, and he got more hits on that. He thanked us with promoting it. So we hope to see more stories from Trapper Tom.
I think I'll go to see what Felicia says.
Felicia? Okay.
Felicia Ann.
Okay. She was another one at the show. I'm going to the SIP segment. That's it for Revisitation. We have a few segments for all of you new fans that are watching the show, and we're getting more every day. I keep hearing they like our show, so we'll keep doing this. SIP Sports Bar last night. It's at West Liberty Avenue, 3024 West Liberty Avenue, Dormont, Pittsburgh, PA 15216. It's a great venue. They have trivia night Sunday nights. I hear Smokin' Jim starting to frequent that, and there was a sighting of China and Smokin' Jim having dinner. Our man Dan, the best coffee in the neighborhood, he told me about Smokin' Jim there, and they appreciate him coming by. Pittsburgh Sports Line is there every Monday night. Come check it out. We're getting a lot of new guests that are coming in. A lot of sports people are coming out. Met some new friends last night. Miss Freddie showed up, and she's such a good person that she didn't realize she was going to be on the show. So I had to bring her on, and we found out her and Smokin' Jim are cousins. And he has a growing list of cousins out there. We had other guests and friends at 2 degrees of separation. It's alive and well. Chip knew Billy the Kid, who's another singer and has a group. Heidi and the Hellcats. I want to give a shout out to Heidi and the Hellcats. Nice group there. So not only are we talking fundraising, sports, pro, boxing, you name it. We had Jimmy Savetic there, the legend.
Wow.
You know what? We got to promote that a little bit. I'm just going to interrupt this segment here. Chipper, if you will, next Saturday night on the 9th, can you get a close-up of that? There we go. Black and gold bouts. This is at the Royal Place. Doors open up at 6 o'clock. Come watch the fight. Smokin' Jim and I will be announcing. The legendary Andy Sebastian will be in the ring announcing, so you'll get to see him. You saw him last week. We got a lot of great feedback with Andy being on the show, and we'll be there on the 9th. That's November 9th. Thanks, Chip, for the assist there. Oh, and then while we were at SIPS also, here's another one. Dig Dormont. This is a volunteer group. They need volunteers on Saturday, November 2nd to do weeding and everything else, help make the community spruce it up on West Liberty Avenue. You can call 724-680-0344. Again, that's 724-680-0344. They have a website on Facebook. Go to facebook.com, DIG Dormont. Just some nice people. The lady that come in, just super. Then we have another fundraising thing. Chip, I'm going to make you work again here. You're getting a lot of great airtime there.
I'm earning my pay this week.
Can you get a close-up there with that smiling face of Chip? Now, this is my friend Bill Russo, runs the Upper St. Clair office here, right on Fort Couch at the corner there. They do this every year with the Pittsburgh-Cleveland game on November 24th. Doors open at noon. Smokin' Jim, I don't expect you there till after 1. It costs us $35 per person. Listen to this. Includes a buffet, open bar throughout. There's tickets. There's blocks you can buy, $20 a block. They have a lot of auctions. This is at Peter's Place on Washington Pike in Bridgeville, and it benefits the Children's Free Care Fund. You can contact the Howard Hanna office at Upper St. Clair, 412-833-3600. You can ask for Sue Muslin and Frankie Kunselman. And you can call whatever number it is. 222 is the extension and 212. But give them a lot of help there. They're trying to hit $800,000 this year, and they believe they can do it. So that's just awesome there. Great cause. So that's some of the things that we run into at people in Dormont. At SIP Sports Bar, they're coming from all over the place. We had a lot of great people there. Tuesday night is Don Campiti's Pizza Night. Shout out to Don. 50 cents a slice. We got maybe little Z, who's over there, will stop by and pick us up some pizza there. Maybe Smokin' Jim. Wednesday night is the ladies' night. Smokin' Jim is now taking over the place there. They like them out there. 25-cent wings every Thursday night. This is SIPS now. Stop there. It's right in Dormont, easy to find. Friday night entertainment, same with Saturday. Thanks for coming out, and we'll see you next Monday. We have a great show planned. I wanted to give this special announcement, which I was talking about last night. Jim O'Brien is the first writer to write a book about Chuck Noll, A Winning Way. He has the first half hour of our show. He told me a lot of ladies and gentlemen are watching our show, and he sees them at the Market District right in Bethel Park here. He said our fan base is growing all the time. He's hearing about us out throughout the community here.
Wow.
He can't wait to be on with us. And I said, I don't normally do this, Jim, but you got a half hour right up front.
Wow.
And he's going to talk about Chuck Noll. And if you haven't heard him speak, because he was at the first speaker edition here at the community center, he's just awesome. To me, he reminds me of Mark Twain when he used to travel, run, and talk. His stories, you think I'm a talking machine? I can't even compete with them. But make sure you come out, Sip Sports Bar next week. Jim O'Brien will be there from 7:30 till we'll have to go to halftime on our show, and he's welcome to stay through that too. But Jim O'Brien, the author, will be there talking Chuck Noll and more.
That'll be great. I'm looking forward to that.
Just great to have him on. And that's it for my Sip Sports Bar segment. Now we're going to go to Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. What do you have?
Hey, thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. And I tell you what, for this one, I got to bring out some of the photos. And
I love your show and tell.
This guy is worthy. Terrell Pryor, not only did he set an NFL record for rushing, the longest run in NFL history for a quarterback, and also, as you see in basketball, how high he's up.
These photos
over the
look familiar.
Yeah.
Weren't they on the show a little while ago?
Yeah, and I got so many more, but I won't bring it out. But the reason I wanted to talk about Terrell Pryor this week, the Fiction and Fact, is something that's very, very interesting. Is that Terrell Pryor was actually offered a scholarship and accepted it in 10th grade for the University of Pittsburgh for basketball. Basketball was where most people thought that his future would be. He was a Parade All-American basketball player and ended up being a Parade All-American football player and rated the #1 football player in the country. And he's living up to that and fell in love with football like most people in Western Pennsylvania. However, he played on an AAU team that is very, very famous called the Jots, Jots.
Wow.
And on that team, the starting five, of course, was Terrell Pryor, DeJuan Blair. Now, this is a traveling team. DeJuan Blair is playing now, and everybody on that team is playing professionally somewhere, the starters. DeJuan Blair is played for the San Antonio Spurs. Now he's playing with the Dallas Mavericks. They had a 6'7" guy on that team named DJ Kennedy.
Yeah.
Won a state championship at Shinley, played in St. John's, and currently plays for the Dallas Mavericks. Also on that team, and he won't be in the NFL until next year, is Greg Blair, the younger brother of DeJuan Blair, who is probably the best middle linebacker in college football for Cincinnati Bearcats. And a surprise to me that I didn't realize was on the team, a guy that's from God's country, and if his dad didn't pass away of brain tumor, he probably would have been a Gateway Gator Hall of Famer. And we've seen him play basketball. Cameron Hayward was also on that team, and we watched him play for the Steelers. And I tell you what, he ain't shy about shooting that ball.
No.
And he's a good athlete going up and down the court.
Coast to coast.
I think he even outscored Charlie Batch in the last game.
He did.
And took more shots, and you got a chance to interview him.
Yeah.
So that's my Fiction and Facts. The Pittsburgh Jots AAU basketball team, all those guys not only did a great job as teenagers, now they're all making money as professional football players.
That's a great point. Hey, I got a question for you. Who owns the Dallas Mavericks? Does he have a Pittsburgh connection?
You know what? Your good friend, Mark Cuban.
I just thought that's ironic. Just had to bring that up, Smoking Jim. Since you didn't mention that. Local Mount Lebanon guy.
And the NBA begins their season. I don't know if most people in Pittsburgh realize it, but they begin their season tonight. and the Miami Heat is going to unveil their rings, but they got to play against Chicago, and Derrick Rose should be a good game.
That I actually want to see that game. I should have put that on the DVR so I won't miss a minute of it. Oh, I forgot. I forgot to do that. I'm glad you alerted me. But hey, if you want to know about pro basketball, check out the Pittsburgh Bullets with Marcus Robinson. You know, he's coming to our show each time. He just had tryouts. So.
Cheerleader trials is tomorrow. I'll be there.
Nobody told me. He didn't tell me about that one. The best scout in Pittsburgh. He scouts them all. All right, Chip, we got to go to my other favorite segment here. Chip's Trivia Time. What do you have, Chip?
Oh, thanks, Alan. And I'm going to make this short because we've got plenty of sports to delve into tonight. We've got the high school football playoffs. There's Penguins hockey, Steelers football. But what I was going to touch on, and I was, I'd like to settle a little beef here between young Mr. Brenner and my friend Smoking Jim Frazier.
I can't.
And lo and behold, Zach keeps on talking about the championships that Steel Valley won. And the lack of championships won by a certain, alma mater of my dear friend Jim. And fact is that Steel Valley has won 3 WPIAL champions. Gateway has won 5. So I think my man here to my left has got bragging rights. And Zach, I'm sorry to have to do this to you, my friend, but this guy over here should be woofing.
He does. That's the point of Zach. I'm going to defend the little Z there.
But, just looking over at the WBIAL champions, and I've got a list here of the champions that date all the way back to 1914, but I'm sure none of us remember any of the teams that played back then. But
I heard about it when I was growing up.
One of the things that struck me is the number of championships won by the Aliquippa Quips. And they've won 15 WPIAL championships, and they are the favorite to win the double A this year. But they've got some stiff competition
like South Fayette.
From South Fayette. Kataning's undefeated, and so is Mount Pleasant. So there'll be some interesting there. The one, looking at the runs of certain teams and what they've had. One that really blows me away is from a school district that no longer exists. It became the Woodland Hills School District, but in the 1950s, Braddock was a high school powerhouse, and I believe they won 7 championships in a row. Okay, and that's.
Do you think the steel mills might have been booming then, and they had a lot of people lived in the area, just like Aliquippa?
The steel mills weren't the only thing booming in Braddock back then.
Whoa!
No baby boomers.
So right now, going into the
mills help that they can afford
the championships. We got Clairton's on a pretty impressive run. They've won 5 championships in the last 6 years. They're not a favorite to win it this year.
Smoking Jim.
Some other teams in the single A that are looking to make some noise. Also, you've got North Allegheny. That's a 3-time defending champ. Don't know if they're going to get a chance to do that. That's going to be pretty strong. But the last piece of trivia that I feel is worth mentioning is. In AAA, there's 2 teams, and a lot of people seem to think that Thomas Jefferson is the odds-on favorite to win the AAA. But let's not forget about Bob Palco and West Allegheny.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Now, West Allegheny is undefeated, and they are the #1 ranked seed there. But Bob Palco, by winning the WPIAL AAA title this year, will become the first coach in WPIAL history to have won 7 individual WPIAL championships without sharing a championship with anybody.
Really?
He would be the first.
Get out.
So that's who I'm going to toss my hat in the ring with this year.
Wow.
Because I'd like to see that happen. He's a great coach. He's got a great legacy going on there, and I'd like to see him. And that, by the way, is Tyler Palco's father.
One of my favorite players of all time. What a great free safety. Talking about a hitter. And a great quarterback.
I just happened to hear him on the radio the other day on that.
Tyler.
Yeah, it was.
He dropped the F-bomb like he did at the Notre Dame game?
No, he did not, but they actually called him up and woke him up on an early Saturday morning, Smoking Jim. And he was in rare form, and they asked him, would you have rather played defense or quarterback? And he was glad that he played quarterback, and he did the best that he could, and even made it to the pros as a quarterback. But they talked about his hits and his defense, you know, and he was like, yeah, I was pretty good. And he goes, I like to hit people. So
Well,
he did mention that.
I tell you what, I kind of misquoted him a little bit. I was with him. He was inducted into the WPIAL Hall of Fame, and I was at the banquet covering the story for the paper, and I kind of misquoted
You weren't allowed
him.
to write about him, though.
That's true, and I kind of misquoted him a little bit because his girlfriend was awesome. She had to be a model, and I tell you what, I wasn't paying much attention to Tyler, so I just kind of put down what I thought he said, and I guess that was I had to
You didn't get in trouble, did you?
Oh, no, I didn't get in trouble, but I tell you what, I should have used a microphone because his girlfriend was outstanding, beautiful young
I can't
model.
believe Little Z
Little
fell
Z,
on the floor.
yeah, Little Z,
then.
yeah, Little Z falling on the floor laughing his mugshot, and they made a great looking couple because Tyler looked like he could be a model as well.
One of those GQ guys.
Yeah.
He was wearing a suit and everything.
Yeah, he
sure.
was wearing a suit and he got out of there quick. He pulled a Batman. Yeah,
Did he?
Yeah, I had to catch him. I had to catch him in the back before he left.
Well, that's because you were leaving at the same
Then
time.
again, the place was at the Marriott. So maybe
But
he
that's
didn't
that's
leave.
one of the beautiful things about high school football is that you see a lot of these great athletes play both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
And an art that's been lost in the pros in the era of specialization. And Zach's picture fell. I think he finally found out that Steel Valley.
I got to play the other side of this. He might pull something else out of here. Maybe somebody else from
I
that
know I'm going to get
neighborhood.
lambasted Monday night, but hey, Zach, nothing but love for you, buddy.
But one thing I can say, every time I come here in here in Bethel Park, the plumbing is very good. So we got to owe that thanks to Zach on that probably.
There you
And
go.
he is working on that certificate now because he's printed out so many of them that he'll be here in a few more weeks, I heard. Maybe by Thanksgiving. We'll see what happens there. Well, since we touched on high school, we might as well get right into the Whippeal, and I'm going to let my two esteemed friends here battle it out on picking the Whippeal. Let's go.
Well,
Ding, ding.
Now they put the matchups in for this this coming up weekend, and the 32 teams are playing in a round robin tournament. Now let's start with the Quad A, and this is the one that's near and
Well,
dear to
let's
Jim's
start off
heart.
at A and work our way.
Okay, let's work our way up from A.
Wow.
Okay, you've got in the A, you've got the top four seeds as being Stowe Rocks, North Catholic, Monessen, and Clareton.
Stowe Rocks.
And I got to say,
Have you been studying smoking, Jim?
Oh yeah.
No, you know what? Here's the thing. Stowe Rocks, I believe that this is their year because they've lost in the championship game the last 2 years in a row. They've knocked on the door and they haven't got there. Maybe they'll be like...
Hold it. Are all their players eligible right now? Because I think that hurt them the last
that
2
was-
years.
But
They
that's-
lost the team, then they come back, then they got some of the team.
that's subject to change at a
Okay.
moment's notice.
Just checking.
They're being homeschooled now, so they're out.
Okay, so we go up to the double A, and once again, Aliquippa is ranked number 1, with South Fayette second. And this is one of the real interesting ones because all of the teams in the top 4 seeds in double A are all undefeated, all deserving. Aliquippa, the two-time defending champion, South Fayette, Katanning, and Mount Pleasant. And those start off this week, and for the ultimate game that I would like to see is Aliquippa and South Fayette playing at Heinz Field, and I think
like
that's
South-
probably
I like
what
South
we're-
Fayette in that game.
Are they in separate brackets? In
Yes,
there?
they are. They've got it set up. And I'll get to that in the Quad A bracket because the game we all want to see will be played at Heinz Field, and we'll talk about that one. Next, we go to Triple A, where we got Bob
Who
Palkos.
are you picking now? Who are you picking?
Oh, I definitely Stowe Rocks. I'll go with South Fayette. I'd like.
Okay.
Yeah, they've been solid all year. They've been playing.
You guys are on the same page.
Yeah,
They've
that's
been
it.
playing excellent
Twins.
pass defense.
Twins.
Triple A, you got West Allegheny, you got Thomas Jefferson. Central Valley is the 3rd seed. Franklin Regional is the 4th. I'm going to pull for West Allegheny.
Well,
The experts are picking Thomas Jefferson, but
Yeah, I got Thomas Jefferson in my preseason number 1. West Allegheny number 2 preseason.
okay. Who'd you have in Double A in your preseason?
Double A, I had Aliquippa, Washington, Shady Side Academy, South Fayette, and Beaver Falls. So I changed my tune there.
Well, you know what? The interesting thing that you mentioned, the Shy McKenzie was lighting it up for Washington until he blew out his knee this year. But the interesting thing about Washington is that they almost had 6 of their games forfeited because of a ruling by the WPIAL, which they appealed to the PIAA, and the PIAA overruled them because the Washington High had discovered one of its players was potentially ineligible, and they weren't aware of his ineligibility, but as soon as they found out, they turned themselves in. And the WPIAL looked at the circumstances and said, well, hey, you used an ineligible player. We have to forfeit these games. They appealed to the PIAA. They disagreed with them. So Washington is getting a chance to play in the playoffs.
And that's only been a rule since 1914. They should be ineligible and out of the playoffs. But my preseason for A was Stowe Rocks number 1, North Catholic number 2, Rochester number 3, Menneson number 4, and Clareton number 5. So I wasn't too far off.
No, you weren't too far off. And that leads us to the Powerhouse Conference, the Quad A. The Quad A has been dominated this year by Upper St. Clair and Central Catholic. Unfortunately, I was in communication with Jim last Thursday night while he was at Anna Marino Stadium with his former head coach, the great coach Pete Anna Marino.
Yes, sir.
And McKeesport took it to Gateway pretty good that night, and they knocked Gateway out of a top 4 seed. So you got your top 3 seeds is Upper St. Clair, Central Catholic, McKeesport, and Woodland Hills got its way back in. And the only 2 teams that Woodland Hills has lost to this year was Central Catholic and McKeesport. So Woodland Hills did the same thing last year. You know, I watched Quad A playoffs last year, and I watched Upper St. Clair just absolutely dismantle Central Catholic one Friday night. The following Friday night, you know, here comes Woodland Hills with 2 or 3 losses playing the machine at Upper St. Clair, and they absolutely dismantled Upper St. Clair that week. So, you know, which got them to the championship game. But the matchup I want to see Upper St. Clair. I want to see Central Catholic at Heinz Field, and I'm rolling with Central Catholic.
Speak for yourself. I think Central gets beaten 2 weeks by Gateway.
Did you say Gateway? Okay.
But preseason, I was off. I agree with you, Chip. I think that Central Catholic, in my opinion, should have been the number 1 seed. I think they had the better season this year. Upper St. Clair was solid, great. Both of them played outstanding defense. So they were clearly the 2 best teams. I didn't have even Upper St. Clair in my top 5 preseason. Number 5, I had McKeesport. Number 4, I had Central. Number 3, I had North Allegheny, who Gateway beat. Number 2, I had Woodland Hills. And number 1, of course, I had the Gateway Gators, who have 7 D1 seniors on their team. So I wouldn't rule them out. If they put it all together.
Can they play like a team? Because I heard there's rumors they're playing like individuals.
Well, that's the thing. You know, you don't have the coaching is real weak this year. You know, they got a first-year coach.
They don't have that legend
who never
there.
had coaching experience before, and I think he's having a hard time. And it's not easy. It's not easy being a head coach, and he's finding that out. His pregame locker room speeches is a little weak. And,
can you go help him? Because that's your alma mater.
I heard his pregame speech before McKeesport, and you are right. But, you know, you got to take into account anybody that's come in to coach at Gateway. You know, they've got the icon up in the press box watching their every move, every game. Because Coach Anna Marino is a legend in these parts.
Yes, he is.
And, you know, God bless him, he's 87 years old, and Smoking Jim swears he's going to make it to his 100th birthday. And I'd love to be there to see that happen.
Yeah, me too.
All you have to do is wait.
Yeah.
And he'll still be up in that press
years.
box cheering on his Gators. And I'm sure he's probably, you know, calling some plays.
But, you know, good luck to the Gators. And, you know, like I said, Quad A is the SEC of high school football. And let's see what happened. But we did get a friend of the show's mom, Eric McAllister. She tagged me, Michelle,
and myself.
She tagged me and let me know that it's on. So, and I said, hey, if Gateway don't win, I'm pulling for Central.
And Eric was one of the nicest young gentlemen. And talking to him, because I was at the Central Catholic Upper St. Clair game last year, and he was playing in it. And I'm not aware of that. And I talked to him after that, and they really want to see Upper St. Clair again in the playoffs. So that's really, I'd like to see them get their payback.
Better be careful what you wish for. You just might get it.
Yeah, you know what? I got to tell you.
That's a true one, Smoking Jim.
I got to tell
Very
you,
true.
the Whippeal playoffs, I mean, you know, I enjoy watching the high school football a lot more than I watching the NFL these days. It's just football in its purest form. These young men are playing. They're playing because they love the game. They play their hearts out. They're not trying to get, contracts. They're not dogging it because they're not getting paid. They're not trying to hurt people. They're playing because they love the game and they're playing it well. And if you get a chance, get out and see some of these games this weekend.
There's no brackets of the city there.
And I want to give a shout out to Bethel Park. Levi Matheny has a broken hand. He's not going to play.
The quarterback.
Yeah, so Coach Matheny has his work cut out for him there, and I'm all about the Blackhawks. Go Bethel Park. Somehow, some way, I know you guys can do it. I've seen you practice, and I drive by all the time, so they can do it.
And they're playing North Allegheny, and and I think that'll be a nice matchup. That might be one of the games I go see this weekend.
If they had their quarterback, I'd give them an even chance there. But I'll be Saturday. I'll be.
Where are you going to be?
I'll be doing the TV broadcast for the City League Championship between UPrep and Allderdice. So I'll be
No
there.
way. Are you going to be at George Couples Stadium?
George Couples Stadium, who was friends with your dad.
Yeah, I didn't want to drop that name, but thanks.
Hey, no, isn't there a quarterback for UPrep that's been sending records?
Yeah,
passing.
Yeah,
this year?
Ronald Downtown Brown. He has about 40 touchdown passes this year and almost 4,000 yards in one season.
Where's he going to school at?
He's only a junior.
Nice. He got another year.
He's only a junior.
They played 9 games. 40 touchdown passes, 9 games. My goodness.
Yeah.
That's what's so amazing. They don't play a 16-game season.
That's over 4 a game.
Yeah.
And a fraction.
Yeah.
If you need that.
Oh, yeah.
What time's the game, Smoking Jim?
I'm not sure. I think it's around.
Man, I was going to try to make an appearance.
I think it's around.
China will get him to the church on time.
China will get me on.
But she won't.
But Allderdice got another, Allderdice's head coach is a friend of mine, Jerry
Is he
Haslett.
a cousin?
Yeah, he's not a cousin. He's tough, though. Jerry Haslett is one of the Haslett brothers.
No way.
The hated
Jim.
Haslett. Jim's
Okay.
brother. He had 3 brothers. They were all tough, mean guys for North Catholic. And if you remember, Jim Haslett was
IUP.
Rookie of the Year. He was
IUP.
IUP, and he was NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year. Ended up stepping on Terry Bradshaw's head on purpose here in the stadium. So all the Haslett guys.
With the helmet on, though.
No, the helmet came off. He
I'm
stepped
teasing.
on it, and he went out of his way to do it. But those Haslett guys were mean, nasty, dirty football players. But Jerry's a good guy. He got Allderdice in a championship game, and he got a set of twins. And they throw to each other.
No.
One's a quarterback, the Jackson twins. They're juniors, great basketball players. They may even be sophomores. I got to double check my city stats.
You double check that.
But he throws a lot of touchdowns, and he throws to his twin brother. And they say they're excellent on the basketball court as well. So I'm looking to see some City League games. And I tell you what, if you want to see a dance team, UPrep got the best dancers.
No.
And I mean, they drop it like it's hot. I mean, these dancers put it. I've never seen a high school
Let me know
dance
what
team
time
like
the
that.
game is. Maybe I'll come to the stadium because I want to hear my
We
man.
know it ain't a night game.
I know that. I know that. I'll be standing on the bridge with the free tickets looking
Maybe
at.
afterwards we can go to Piper's Pub.
Ah, now you're talking, Smoking Jim.
Hangers and mash.
Yeah. No, we like the shepherd's pie. You could see my friend Drew, the owner there.
But
We'll
you had
stop
something
in.
else on Facebook that looked pretty good recently.
Yeah, there's a couple different meals there. Definitely. We'll have to stop by. You're getting hungry.
Try the sampler platter.
Yeah. Piper's Pub is a great place to eat at.
It was good.
That's a
enjoyed
free
it.
promo. Nobody's paid me to say that or Smoking Jim, but we've been there and we enjoyed the place. So maybe I'll stop down if you tell me what time. Text me.
All right.
All right? Text me.
While I'm driving. I'm driving.
No, he's stopping that now. Safety first.
I'm thinking high noon.
Yeah, I'm thinking so too.
Oh, then there'll be plenty of time we could have a nice dinner there, buddy.
Yeah. The city basketball championships last year was at the defunct Peabody High School, and it was all they had the girls and the guys, and it was very early. I think the girls was like at 10, the guys was at noon because they had some dance that evening. So it's always going to be some of convenience.
Okay.
They'll have some kind of excuse to keep it.
All right. Well, I'm going to stay
short.
tuned. I wish somebody would call in 412-831-3304 so they could tell us what time it'll be there. But Anyhow, let's move on. We got to at least touch on the Steelers. I got to go to my man since I gave him a softball and how great he is in predicting soft players. Smoking Jim, what's going on with this season here with the Steelers?
Well, before the season, I said that, before the end of the season, Jarvis Jones will be demoted to third string and not even dressing for games. But the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, and the problem is lack of leadership. And like Chip always talks about Clark. But what happens right now, and I predicted before the season with the easy schedule, 10-6, I thought it was the last hurrah with the Bill Cowher's players getting older. And I still think the possibility is there. They just got to start putting some games together. Losing against teams you have no business losing, had no business losing to the Oakland Raiders. Oakland wanted it bad. Or the Pittsburgh Steelers think all they got to do is roll their helmet out on the field. So this week against New England, like both of you guys said prior to it, they may beat New England because nobody's giving them a chance to beat New England. And I'm sure if they do win, they'll act like they win a championship. But even if they lose to the New England Patriots, that's still only 6 losses, and the possibility of 10-6 is still out.
It's still alive.
But
Thanks, Smoking
to
Jim.
speak to Jim's, I know. Well, Jim and I were having this conversation off the air last night. One of the things that, and this actually pains me to say this, but one of Jim's favorite football players of all time was brother Ray Lewis, Baltimore Ravens, soon to be Hall of Famer. And the one thing about Ray Lewis is that he played with such passion, and that he motivated the people around him to play better. And you just don't see anybody playing with passion, with a desire to win, that wants to make the play that wins the game. The big stop on defense. The big catch. I mean, it seems like, guys just are going out there, they're running their routes, they either make the catch or they don't make the catch, and it's like, it's no big deal, you let Terrell Pryor run for 93 yards, and Ryan Clark's over on the other side of the field trying to hit the running back that doesn't have the ball, and it's okay, and it's somebody has to have a will to win there, and somebody's got to take their foot and kick some people in the fannies and get them motivated to play, because it seems like, it's okay, and it's not. I mean, I know it's not life and death, it's just football, but come on, you got to want to win.
Well, I think one of the problems, you have all these guys got these contracts. Look at Antonio Brown. He wants the ball. He had some great games. He got the ball. 2 catches. If he makes one of those catches, we win the game. That's how simple it was. Now, squeeze him, they're blaming him. He had how many in a row? He missed 2 kicks, so what if he got paid to miss them? I don't care. It doesn't matter. But the thing is, it shouldn't come down to 1 or 2 plays. It's their whole philosophy and how they're playing. Their offense, why are you running the ball like 17, 18 times when you're going towards the other team's goal? And then how do you mismanage the clock when you're still in the game? You're actually still in the game and you're mismanaging the clock. And how can you let your quarterback call a timeout, which really cost you, even though you were out of the game, you were coming back? Well, these things are bothersome to me. Well, yeah. It goes from top to bottom. I can't blame the players because, they're just doing their job. So who's showing them how to do this job? You got to take responsibility.
I think
coaching.
You got to blame. I just across the board. You got to blame everybody. You got to blame the people in the scouting department. You've got to blame the coaches. You've got to blame the players, because the players are out there on the field and they're responsible for their actions. When Ben called that timeout, which had we had that timeout, we may have had enough time to go down and kick a game-tying field goal. Here's what he's getting wrapped up in, arguing with the referee. He's the general on the field. He is the leader. He should be gathering his troops, getting them huddled up so that they... But no, after he gets done arguing with the ref, which you're never going to win an argument with the ref, it hasn't ever happened yet, and he looks up at the clock and there's 3 seconds left on it, like, oh, wait, was I supposed to have a huddle and run a play? Had to call the timeout because he wasn't paying attention to the game situation and the clock.
You guys, somebody, a good friend of mine, Tracy Washington, that knows a lot about sports, I'll throw this out to you guys. He said that he would consider trading Ben for a first-round draft choice. He believes that Ben is a cancer in the locker room. How do you guys feel about that? I'm a big Ben fan.
Huge.
How do you guys
I can't believe you're even bringing that out.
Well, here,
I'm going to interrupt you right now. Now, when did he finally win a Steeler MVP? And when was he made the captain of the team? It wasn't right away.
Right.
Now, every quarterback that I know, and a lot of guys, even their first year, you don't like RG3. He was made a captain his first year.
Yeah.
Now, to me, who chooses this? Your players, especially MVP and all that stuff. Now, he might do a lot of great things. Maybe he changed his way, deserves a second, third chance, but he's only a great athlete. And that's the thing. Not everybody that's a great athlete can be a leader. And like Chip's saying, you're arguing with a referee. Now, he's played sports his whole life. And you know what you're going to get when you argue with the referee. Not much.
No.
And the clock keeps ticking.
Yes,
No
sir.
pun intended, so you're out of time. And he cost us that way. Just look at his ball management. Now, when you're making mistakes, you can understand that when you're winning, but we're not winning. And we're close in all these games where we're getting blown out. The worst part, your wife, Stephanie, was saying, what gets her more frustrated is if you're getting blown out, just stay that way. Don't tease us and then break our hearts as Steeler fans at the end, right, Chip?
Well,
and you're hearing that at home, so I'm bringing it out here.
And to speak to Jim's question, and I heard some discussions about this on the local airwaves. Would you consider trading Ben Roethlisberger for a first-round draft pick? And somebody's, you think about it, and it's like, well, it depends. There's a lot of things you'd have to consider, and I think the reason why I wouldn't make the trade is, the things you have to consider is what draft pick are you going to get? Are you going to get the 32nd pick in the draft, or are you going to get a top 5 pick? It also depends on what does the draft class look like that's coming up. I mean, is there a franchise quarterback in the top few picks that you might be able to get? But I think the reason why you would want to keep Ben Roethlisberger and why we should is that, we are a team in transition. And, they don't like to use the rebuilding word, but,
I used it already.
I mean, come on, a fact is a fact. But as long as Ben Roethlisberger is behind center for the Pittsburgh Steelers, they have a chance to win whatever game we're playing. Sunday's a perfect example. We played as badly straight across the board, special teams, offense, defense, you name it, okay?
Right.
And we still had a chance to win a game that, one or two plays, we win that game, and we had no right. We should have been thrown out of that stadium, So, in the interest of keeping a winning environment, I don't know, how, you look at what Indianapolis did 2 years ago. They went in the tank, but that Peyton Manning was hurt.
Yeah.
And, they got the first pick in the draft. They got Andrew
I
Luck,
thought it was
and
brilliant,
franchise.
though, to lose all those games.
But, it was a gamble. They could have just as easily ended up with egg on their face, too. But they rolled the dice, and it came up sevens for them, So, I still think that Ben's got probably 3 or 4 good years here. But that's the thing. We've got 3 or 4 good years. We need to start grooming his successor, and we need to start putting better talent around him.
We don't have a successor. What I say is you keep Big Ben. We're still in the game here. You still have some players that can win. They can turn it around. I don't want to just be down on the Steelers because you do make it close. But when you don't, the good teams have a little bit of luck. Their luck, they can't even make their luck. They're out of luck. You used to say that about Luck, but he's done it, in Indianapolis. There's no doubt. For us, we got to have, there's a lot of quarterbacks coming out this year in the draft. There's some guys that maybe they can draft. But think about this. The Steelers antagonize a lot of people. There's a lot of jealousy, envy, and hate for the Steeler Nation and the Steeler team. Like people are going, why can't we go out there and get a free agent for, maybe a lineman or something? Look, we're not even taking Max Starks, who is our best offensive lineman. He's out there. So that makes you wonder. Maybe there's an undercurrent that, they might respect the Rooneys and the Steelers, but nobody's out there helping them or even making available players for them to take. So you don't want to get rid of Big Ben. He is a good athlete. I'll give him that. He's a game changer. But you have to have the receivers hold on to the ball no matter what. That's one of the problems. And Heath Miller's still not 100%, but there's a heart and soul of the team. Look at what he's doing out there. He's getting crushed. They hit him in the knee at the beginning of the game. I thought he'd be done.
Yeah.
But this guy played the whole game, made some key catches.
Tough.
And that's what you need, and that's what the Steeler fans, all of us, like. I'm bleeding black and gold, so I can't believe Smoking Jim even brought that up about getting rid of Big Ben.
You think about the situation of the team, and you know what? That question has to be asked. And, you're going to hear a variety of different opinions on it, but, it's something that you have to consider. And as a matter of fact, they were listening to Tomlin's press conference today. He was saying that he was not akin to looking at anybody, at any position. And this
Hold
is
it,
right
Zoltan's
after,
gone.
This was right after he
Zoltan's gone, Chip.
Oh, yeah, they cut the punter. They picked up McBride.
So he was
punted
honest.
For the Eagles for the last 2 years and the Cowboys for 8 years.
Listen to that late-breaking news, buddy. Tomlin's a man of his word, because I'm still waiting to hear the standard is the standard. I don't hear it because we're not winning. Think about it. There is no standard.
There is no standard.
But what was all that PR about it? I mean, that's what bothers me. You come up with all the catchphrases. You got to play football. Look at him on the sideline. To me, it bothers me to see what he does on the sideline. When you have a leader, you usually see that leader perform. And he knows. He's well-read. He reads all these books, has all this positive stuff out there. I'm looking for that leader on the sideline. And everybody knows what I mean there. You don't see it. I mean, that's just how simple it is out there. We're going to try to close this in a few minutes. We got Penguin talk. The Penguins are out there. I keep hearing people talking negative about Fleury. I listen to some of the sports talk that you guys do. Fleury is 8-2 this year. I think he's playing very well.
Fleury's playing very well, and we've talked about him in the past how he got burned out the 1 year he's playing too much. But you lose sight of the fact that the Winter Olympics are being played this year. They're getting a 3-week break in February. Now, Marc-Andre Fleury was not asked to be on any of the Olympic teams, so he's going to have time to rest in the middle of the season that he wouldn't normally get. And I think Fleury will be fine. Now, whether or not Thomas Volkun comes back, we'll see. He had some life-threatening issues, and you know what? At his age, he's got a wife, he's got young children, and he wants to watch his children grow, and I think that just outweighs anything. The thing that I'm got a little concerned about is the best defensive player they have and the strongest player they have in the penalty kill, Rob Scuderi, broke his leg. He'll be out for
ankle. He got broken ankle.
He'll be out for some time. But you know what? Not like there is a good time for somebody to get injured, but if you're going to get injured in hockey, getting injured in October is better than it happening in March or April.
Yeah.
Because by the time the playoffs roll around, he should be able to get back on the ice and play his way into shape. But
and how about the rookie Magna? Getting a goal and an assist. Lemieux
and Magna
and Mata.
Olli Mata, the rookie that they brought up from the juniors, who has now earned his way onto the team.
Hey, before we close,
go ahead. We're going to close.
Who you guys got winning the World Series? I got Boston.
I'm still going to go with the Cardinals until they.
I just want to give a little fiction and fact from Al Levine's almanac. Boston has not won a home game in a World Series since 1918. And this year, I'm jumping off the Cardinal bandwagon. They're going to do it in Boston. The first time since 1918.
Wow.
I'm flipping my switch here. No more Cardinals.
Last time a World Series team won on the road, 2 games on the road?
Pirates.
79.
Not happening this year. And we're getting ready to close this down. We only got about 30 or 40 seconds. Smoking Jim, I know you and I got boxing this weekend. The next weekend, Royal Place. And then we do have our 19th, the red carpet.
Yes, sir.
We're saving Chip some tickets there.
Yeah,
bring toys for November 19th.
Yeah, for Jimmy Savetic's Secret Santa, that's a really worthy cause. Help out the needy children. Help them have a Merry Christmas.
And this is the debut. We have to go. Where do we go, Smoking Jim? The 3rd Avenue Gym. We got to travel there to get in a limousine. Jimmy Savetic.
You got to drive by the place to get to 3rd Avenue.
I know. That's crazy, but leave it to the legendary Jimmy Savetic. Thanks for the opportunities. Put me in the ring like a piece of meat. He beat me up so bad, even Chip said, Al, I've never seen you blush. Good night, folks. Al Levine, the Talking Machine, Chip the Prophet Hayner, Smoking Jim Frazier. Thanks for watching the show. Thanks, BPTV, Dave Cable, John the Tiger Kiger, Aaron Ward, Devin Shea. If I forgot anybody, we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching us. Have a nice night.